Fuck you. Good morning, and welcome to the third and final episode of Heavemsward Reread Tribe Quests. Today we are going to be tackling the Moogles, the crafting side quests that drove me insane when I first did these tribes. Now, for whatever reason, the Moogles, despite being the third and final tribe/allied society to be released in Heavemsward, uses the same reputation progression as the Vanu Vanu, which is to say you only get 50 reputation every single time you complete a quest. This may not seem like much, but that 20 less rep you get from every quest you complete drives you insane after an extended period of time and makes everything feel like it takes so much longer. Not to mention that, similarly to the Sea of Clouds, the Churning Mists is a massive area to fly around in, and they are not always particularly kind with where everything is placed. That being said, let's go ahead and jump into the Moogle quests. First up, we got Hasty Conclusions. Mogek the Marvelous appears slightly flustered.
Ruja, I know not what to do, Kupo. Several days ago, one of my Mogmenders stormed off when I told him that searching the House of Letters for construction materials was a foolish idea. He's been absent for days, and being the hardhead he is, I'm sure he will not return until he has collected an assortment of planks, paints, and pilings large enough to prove me wrong. I fear this means he might never come back, for there is nothing of the sort in Isle Tome, only hungry predators seeking easy prey, and there's nothing easier than an overworked Moogle. Please, find him and make sure he is safe, Kupo.
When you find the mettlesome Moogle, he says,
Gah! Please, Kupo, I am but skin and bones. I assure you, I do not taste nearly as good as I... Oh, thank the gods, it's you. As glad as I am to see your friendly face, I beg of you not to sneak up on me like that. Mogek sent you? Oh, Kupo! I just knew that smug-faced, palm-swinging miser didn't trust me to bring back anything worthwhile. Well, I'll show him. I will. Just look at this huge pile I've gathered. Oh, who am I kidding, Kupo? Most of these materials are so old and decrepit, it would be a miracle if I could use them to build anything. What am I to do with this rubbish? Wait, these pillars of wood. Alone they might be worthless, but with your superb crafting skills, maybe you could fashion some beams. Then even Mogek cannot claim my coming here was a fruitless venture. Someone of your expertise should be able to make short work of this. And while you're at it, I will go and search the area for even more things to take back. Anyway, I shall let you get started. If you find yourself in need of more materials, do not hesitate to ask. Oh, and please deliver the finished product to Mogek directly, Kupo. The repurposed construction components you craft read, a component to be used in constructing the framework for the Fountain of Barless. Once you finish crafting it, speaking to the mettlesome Moogle, he says, Oh, they're magnificent! How I wish I could be there to see the look on Mogek's face when you hand them to him. Where has my little... Oh, hang on, I think that's for a fate. When you return to Mogek, he says, Ruja, you've returned much earlier than I expected, Kupo. Were you able to find our missing Mogmender? I see, so he stayed behind to continue his search? Well, for that I cannot fault him. These are simply splendid, Kupo. Even more so considering they were crafted using components found at the House of Letters. Perhaps I was too quick to discount the potential the ruins offered. It is a mistake. I mean to rectify immediately, Kupo. I shall begin scheduling routine searches of the area. Just as soon as I get the rest of my Mogmenders in order, that is. A fundamentally important task. Mogek the Marvelous is nervously fluttering his wings. As you might recall, today is, or rather was, to be the day we began restoring the Foundation, Kupo. A slight oversight, however, has left us with insufficient materials to do so. To remedy this, I have dispatched Mogmenders to the Landlord Colony and Isle Tome to root for the loose lumber and steel. Should have returned by now, but are nowhere to be seen. It is imperative that we sort this mess out quickly, so I would ask that you lend us your strength once more, Ruja. Please go and gather whatever they have collected, and deliver it to one of my Mogmenders at the restoration site above, Kupo. Upon finding the moiling Moogle, he says, I have scoured this entire area, and I am confident that, short of chopping down trees, there is no more timber to be found. While a few of the logs are a mite singed, they're no doubt still serviceable. Well then, I shall leave these to you, Kupo. I shall go and see what the area beyond has to offer in the way of materials, Kupo. The Minikin Moogle you speak to says, I have unearthed a large cache of metal bars, but try as I might, I cannot carry them for even a single ilm. You appear quite strong, Kupo. Please, madam, take them to the restoration site in my stead. I might need to rest a spell before attempting to fly up that hill. Mountain, rather, again.
From them, you receive partially charred wood chunks, which read loose timber salvaged from the landlord colony, a handful of which appears to be slightly charred around the edges, and a sack of metal scrap, hunks of rusted metal that have begun to crumble and flake with age. Upon taking these to the mindful Moogle at the restoration site, he says,
Yes, indeed, Kupo. Not moments ago I received word from Master Mogak that you would be along with more construction materials. Now, let's see what our little scavengers managed to dig up. Excellent, Kupo. This is much more than I hoped to receive on such short notice. Ho, we should take a look at this, Ruja. If these bits of charcoal were ground to powder, it could be used to mix vats of varnish to shield our pilings from the elements. Now, if only there was someone on hand with the talent and skills to do so. Oh, you'll do it. I knew I could count on you, Kupo. Oh, and when you finish, please see that they undergo one of Master Mogak's routine inspections. I was hoping you'd ask. Please, allow me.
The foundation components you finish crafting read a component to be used in constructing the foundation of the fountain in Barless. And when you return them to Mogak the Marvelous, he says,
You're back so soon, Ruja. I trust all went smoothly? Magnificent, Kupo. With these, our foundations will be able to withstand the ravages of time for generation upon generation to come.
Deep into the weeds, Mogak the Marvelous is flitting back and forth, a dissatisfied frown on his plump features. Judgy?
They're late, Kupo, so very late. The baskets I ordered should be here by now, but they're nowhere to be seen. Without them, how are we to transport our fabrics, which are soon to be completed? Ruja, I'm terribly sorry to have to impose upon your generosity, but might you go and investigate the cause of this delay on my behalf? Fantastic. You should be able to find the Mogbenders overseeing the production of these baskets near the Sawmall Summit, Kupo.
Near the area where you were told to go, you find a managing Moogle who says,
Thread this through here, put this in... not again, Kupo, stupid clumsy paws! Oh, once more from the beginning then.
As well as across from him, a mendicant Moogle who says,
My baskets are late? How awful! I swear I've been here diligently weaving away from sunrise to sunset. I've worked my paws to the bone. I know that disappointed look. You think I'm lying. I'm not, Kupo. I'm only one basket away from fulfilling Mogak's order. Well, maybe two, but that's only because I'm unable to gather the necessary materials. You see, I need Sankchini shoots, but it takes quick hands and incredible precision to pluck them. Please, madam, would you bring me 3? I cannot afford to fall any further behind. I must get back to work, Kupo.
The Sankchini shoot you gather reads, a budding plant with long fibrous roots. After being dried for a period in the sun and then briefly dipped in water, the plant becomes pliable enough to twirl into the most elaborate of baskets. When you return to the mendicant Moogle, he says,
If your sap-stained hands and that piquant smell are anything to go by, you have brought me my shoots, Kupo. Thank you, madam. You are my hero. Once these have been dried in the sun, they will make the perfect baskets. Before you go, however, there's one last thing. I swear on the Mogbender's name, this is my final request. I need a finishing lacquer to coat these baskets with, something I know not how to make. It's not as bad as you're thinking, Kupo. I have the materials right here. Please, once you're finished delivering them to the professional basket weaver just over there, just let me know if there's anything else you need. Anything at all, Kupo. Yes, good thing I made sure to stock up on materials beforehand. I shall get them to you promptly.
The basket components you craft read, a component to be used to enhance both the durability and practicality of the Sankchini baskets. When you give it to the managing Moogle, he says,
Does he think I cannot see what he's doing? Me, the professional basket weaver? Pah! That's just his little excuse to slither out of work and have me take up the slack, Kupo. It's about time, Kupo. Thank you for bringing these to me. With them, I should be able to finish my baskets that much faster, and soon escape that pompous fool's cheeky smile and grating voice. Please tell Mogak to just hold on a bit longer, Kupo. We shall have the baskets delivered the moment they're finished. Just a little more to go, Kupo. Once the handles are securely fastened and they're given to their finishing coat, all their baskets will pale in comparison.
When you return to Mogak the Marvelous, he says,
It would seem I underestimated the amount of time that must be invested in weaving baskets, Kupo. At this point, I suppose there's nothing to do but wait. However, this brings us no closer to solving our current dilemma. Without the baskets, I have no way of transporting the fabrics we'll soon be receiving. I must revise my estimations to ensure this has no lasting consequences, Kupo.
How many do I have to do? Why are there so many Moogle quests? With a little help, Mogak the Marvelous is in need of a master craftswoman.
Well met, Ruja. I was just about to send for you. You see, the sudden influx of new recruits has us short on woodworking tools and supplies, leaving those who joined us more recently with no means to begin their training. We are in dire need of resin, and you're just the artisan we need to mix it, Kupo. By now, Mogwan should have secured the necessary materials with which you can do so. If you make your way to Asai, you'll be able to begin crafting straight away.
Speaking to Mogwan, he says,
Mogak mentioned you'd be along, Kupo. Well, I dare say we shall not disappoint. The selection of materials we've gathered for you will even rival the wares of vendors in the inner cities. I exaggerate, of course, but rest assured, all that you need can be found right here. Oh, and if you would, please take this finished product directly to Magubo. He's been beside himself with excitement since learning you'd be the one creating supplies for our trainees. The training supplies read, supplies to be distributed to wide-eyed initiates so that they might begin their training forthwith.
Ruja, you're right on time, Kupo. Did you bring them with you? Oh, they're perfect.
So perfect, in fact, it makes me think our novice mogbenders would feel much more inspired to learn if they received their training supplies from a master craftswoman such as yourself. I shall wrap them up. So might you distribute them to each of our crafters in training? I'm jealous, Kupo. These are of a quality that might surpass those given to our veteran crafters. The training supplies he wraps up for you now read, a set of tools and training materials which have been packaged and are ready to be distributed to new recruits. When you deliver them to the mentee Moogles, they say things like,
a special delivery for me? How exciting, Kupo. Let's see it then. Oh, these are just what I needed, thank you, madam. Wait, you're the esteemed Mistress Ruja in the flesh. How I have longed to meet you. These were crafted by you? I shall treasure them always, Kupo. What's brought you out all this way, ma'am? I joined for the free kupo nuts, but now that I'm here, I might as well go the full malm. There isn't any point in starting something unless you're going to be the best. These are simply splendid. With them, there's nothing stopping me from becoming the premier Mogmender.
And when you finally return to Mogak the Marvelous, he says,
Ruja, from what I hear, not only did you take the time to craft the supplies I requested, but you went out of your way to distribute them as well. Thanks to you, the youngest of our crew couldn't be more excited to start their training. I just hope their zest for learning doesn't begin to wane over the coming days and weeks, Kupo. We need all the pause we can to get if Zenith is to be restored in a timely fashion.
A stone's throw away. Mogak looks up and nods at you approvingly.
Right on time, Ruja. I have need of your keen eye. You see, the more enterprises the Mogmenders take on, the more crystals we must stockpile for crafting. We accepted help from an eager Moogle of the Mog home who will gather crystals so we can maintain our pace. While we're grateful for an extra set of paws, this young one has no experience, Kupo. Likely he cannot even tell a crystal from a glass shard. I would like you to assist him in finding a sample crystal. He is expecting you on the summit of Sarmal.
You find the mirthful Moogle, and he says,
Mogak told me to wait here for a crystal expert, so I suppose that would be you. Pleasure to make your acquaintance, Kupo. I'm afraid I don't know much about what kind of crystals the Mogmenders want. I was told kupo trees, like the ones at the landlord colony, are a viable source, but I wouldn't even know which ones are ripe for the harvest. Mogak and I agreed this would go much swifter if a master such as yourself informed me of the precise location of the trees that have crystals ripe for harvest. Then I'll handle the rest, Kupo.
The kupo tree crystals you pick up read, a crystal of superb quality harvested from a churning mist's kupo tree. When you show it to the mirthful Moogle, he says,
Did you have any luck, Kupo? Oh, so this is what one looks like. Wherever did you find it? Well then, I'm off to go gather my first crystals. You have my thanks, Kupo. If all goes well, this could be the start of a new life for me. Maybe I could get my own set of mining tools, Kupo.
When you return to Mogak, he says,
I suppose you were able to teach him what a well-chosen crystal looks like. Good, good. It's strange, isn't it, that it was the dragons who first taught man how to gather the crystals from the kupo trees, and now in turn, the Moogles are learning from man, Kupo.
Moogle on the wall. Mogak is in need of a master crafter's touch.
Ah, Ruja, just the craftswoman I was looking for, Kupo. We're gathering materials for the restoration of the walls surrounding the plaza grounds, and your help would be most appreciated. I dispatched a few able-bodied Moogles to the landlord colony in search of salvageable goods, and I want to be sure what they can find can be put to good use. I'd like you to check on their progress and bring back anything they found so far.
You find a rummaging Moogle who says,
I don't even know where to begin, Kupo. Would you help me find some choice materials for the Mogmenders? We should be able to cover more ground if we split up. You head west, and I'll stay here to see what I can find. Between the two of us, something is bound to impress Mogak. I know there's lots of rubble to sift through, but try not to take too long, Kupo.
The dateless wood you find reads, a seemingly useless piece of wood recovered from the ruins of the landlord colony. When you return to the rummaging Moogle, he says,
Welcome back! So what did you find? I was only expecting scraps, Kupo. Where did you find this? We can make tools to polish the walls with this. You can make the tools, Kupo. Far be it from me to deny a craftswoman the chance to show off her skills. Now then, when you've finished, take the supplies back to Mogak. I'm going to stay here and see if there's anything else worth taking. Still crafting, are we? You would need but say the word if you're running short on materials. When you've finished, Mogak will be more than happy to take what you have, Kupo.
The wall repair supplies you craft reads, supplies to be used in repairing the stone walls surrounding Barless. And when you return to Mogak, he says,
There you are! Did they find anything suitable for our work on the walls? Oh my, this is more than suitable. With this, the walls will gleam as they haven't in 1,000 years, Kupo. I'll have the Mogmenders get to work right away.
Kupo for kupo nuts. The look in Mogak's squinty eyes tells you he has a favor to ask.
As the most brilliant Moogle of the Mogmenders, I took it upon myself to devise a plan to recruit more helping paws. All I need now is a certain charismatic character to put my plan into action. That would be you, Kupo. We Moogles are all play and no work when time allows for it, but none can resist the allure of kupo nuts, even if it means arduous work. And that is how I will rally the Moogles to help with construction. Mogmal was hesitant, though, concerned those already working would lose their share. Being the magnificent Moogle that I am, however, I amassed an ample supply without dipping into their stock. Now, what I want you to do is travel to Mogholm and see who would be willing to help us for a sizable sum of kupo nuts. The mere mention of the words should be more than enough to help motivate them, kupo.
Upon finding various Moogles with nothing better to do and saying things like, free kupo nuts for kupo nutters, you get responses such as this one from the Mellow Moogle, who says,
I'm so bored. Oh, if only I had something to do. Nuts, you say? All I can eat if I help the Mogbenders? I'll do it, kupo.
A mindless Moogle says,
Aren't cloud mallow just the fluffiest? Only I could make my palm that soft and fluffy. Kupo nuts for free? My fluffy palm will have to wait, kupo.
And the musing Moogle says,
Look at that sky. To think we're just tiny, fluffy specks in a great expanse of it all. Really makes you think, doesn't it? Oh, free kupo nuts! Well, I certainly don't need to think about that, kupo. Which way to the Mogmenders?
And finally, a meager Moogle says,
I'm so hungry, kupo. What I wouldn't do for even a handful of kupo nuts. Free kupo nuts for helping the Mogmenders? Who could say no to that?
And when you return to Mogak, he says,
Moogles have been flying from every which way asking for work. I've never seen them so eager. But you and I both know they're really just here for my nuts, kupo. You wish to know how I procured enough for all the volunteers? Why, I borrowed from Chieftain Moglin's secret reserves, of course. So secret, in fact, that he's all but forgotten they exist. Even if he should remember, I'm certain he would agree that our work in Zenith is a suitable use for them. At least I hope so.
Work that mallow. Mogak wants to light up the skies of Zenith.
Tell me, Rouge, have you ever heard of sparkling mallows? At the very least, I'm sure you've seen them. Twinkling balls of fluff dotting the landscape here and there. We plan to use them to spruce up the monument grounds, kupo. I sent someone to gather a few, but alas, they've yet to return. You would think picking a few plants would be an easy task. I'm sure it's nothing serious, but I would be remiss not to be certain, which is why I need you to travel to Som All and see if anything is wrong.
There you find a mournful Moogle who says,
Hey, you're that crafting adventurer, right? Oh, thank goodness you're here. I can't finish harvesting these sparkling mallows now that my hatchet's ruined, kupo. I worked really hard, and I'd hate to accept the Mogmenders back home. Do you think you can help me fix it? The head of the hatchet practically snapped off when I struck the base of the mallow. A master craftswoman like you shouldn't have a problem fixing it. Thankfully, I have spare material for repairs right here. When you've crafted what we need, take it to the Moogle floating just over there, and he'll make my tools as good as new, kupo. I'm counting on you, adventurer. We need a lot of sparkling mallows for the monument, and the Mogmenders won't get any if I can't get back to work.
The gathering tool components you craft read, a component to be used in repairing tools for gathering sparkling mallows. And when you take it to the malcontent Moogle, he says,
Hello there. Before you say anything, I know why you're here. He broke another hatchet, didn't he? Well, let's have a look then. Oh, you made new parts to fix it, kupo. That's awfully kind of you. I'll have him back to work in no time. If Mogak asks, tell him that work is proceeding as planned. Thanks again for your help, kupo. Tell Mogak he doesn't have to worry about the sparkly mallows.
When you return to Mogak, he says,
Welcome back. So his tool was broken. Trouble, but just as I suspected. You must have misheard me, my dear friend. I didn't say, I'm sure it's nothing serious. I said, I'm sure it's something serious. Why else would I send you to help them, kupo?
He also did definitely say nothing serious. So he's a liar, that little fucker. A little pick-me-up. Mogak seems worried about something.
The Mogmenders have been working tirelessly towards the restoration of Zenith. So much so, in fact, I fear they may be inadvertently worked themselves to exhaustion. Which is why I'd like you to help them using one of our cloud mallows, kupo. Though their fluffiness pales in comparison to the fabulously soft fur of yours truly, their ability to relieve fatigue is unsurpassed. All you have to do is give it a good shake to sprinkle a few mallow puffs on anyone nearby. They'll soon be reinvigorated and ready to continue working. You're likely to find them lazing about not too far here at Zenith and up north at the Rookery. Speak with the Moogle just over there to borrow one, then ride the breeze until you find them.
The moofy Moogle you speak to get a mallow says,
Mogak told me you'd be coming. You're sure to have a comfortable trip. Just be careful, though. Some find them to be too comfortable. I myself have fallen asleep riding them more times than I care to admit, kupo.
The Moogles you find scattered all over the place, who are exhausted from work, say things like,
We'll never finish at this rate. I'm not gonna make it, kupo.
And after you spray them with spores and fluff and dandelions, or whatever the hell is in these things, they say things like,
Huh? I feel my strength returning. Hey-ho, I've got my second wind. No time for complaints, you two. That monument won't build itself, kupo. Oh, it's so soft and fuzzy. I'm feeling fresh and fired up, kupo. Let's get back to work, boys. My palm is bursting with energy, and I won't let it go to waste.
And returning to Mogak, he says,
It would seem my plan was a success. Now the Mogmenders can labor with the strength of 100 Moogles each, kupo. From dawn till dusk, and perhaps till dawn again, they'll sing the praises of a hard day's work. We should be back on schedule in no time at all.
Stumbling blocks. Mogak the Marvelous is staring at two unevenly sized blocks of stone.
Thank the gods you're here. All evening, the construction Moogles have been pelting me with complaints regarding the shipments they've been receiving from the stonemasons. It would appear that while each of the stone blocks that arrive at the site have been polished to a shine, no two are the same. This has made it nearly impossible for the rocks to be stacked, much less used for construction. The masons need someone to guide them, and I can think of none better than Master herself. Please, Ruja, show the stonemasons of Zenith how sculpting is truly done.
A muzzing Moogle says,
I can't see Kupo. I must move in closer to observe the Master's movements.
and the masonry Moogle you speak to says,
What is this? The blocks we've been dispatching are not all uniform? Oh, this is not good, Kupo, not good at all. I don't understand how such a thing could happen. My masons have been working tirelessly, meticulously chipping away at their stones, even as their pom-pom droop with exhaustion. Unless, oh dear, is it possible that in their haste to begin production they forgot to consult with one another? That would certainly account for the different sizes and shapes. Ruja, it seems Mogek was right to send you. We are in desperate need of your assistance. Perhaps if you were to produce a file with which we could grind down some of our larger blocks, we would be able to standardize all of the rocks in our shipments. I'll have my masons bring them for you, so if you find yourself running low on materials, don't hesitate to speak up, Kupo. I'm glad this matter has been brought to my attention. It would seem my apologies, Ruja, for not noticing sooner. I shall have them brought to you immediately. You there, go and fetch the requested materials at once, Kupo.
Once you finish crafting the stonemasonry supplies, they read, supplies to be used to grind down larger slabs of rock, ensuring uniformity in shape and size.
We have come to look upon the Master's work, Kupo. You are truly amazing, so swift and precise. I have never seen anything like it. How does one become such a great crafter?
To which you can either say, one must always pay attention to the details, or
Never give up!
Your wise words have served to motivate us even further. We shall return to work and then try again and again until we get it right. While it will likely take a tremendous amount of time to practice and become as adept as you, we shall never give up.
Give up!
Thank you, adventurer. With your help, we have finally created a set of 3 stone blocks that are the exact same size, Kupo. We shall get started on the next one, so please take these back to Mogek for approval. I think we have seen much improvement, and it is all thanks to you, Kupo.
the stonework sample you received from them appears to be a sphere, which doesn't really seem like it's going to be useful for stacking or building walls, but what do I know? A set of 3 similarly sized shaped stone blocks, burnished to a glossy finish. And when you return it to Mogek, he says,
Good evening, Ruja. Pray tell, how did the lessons go? Oh, what wonderful news. While they certainly have their work cut out for them, I feel this is the last bit of trouble we'll be seeing from the stonemasons. Just look at these samples. They're absolutely magnificent. I'm certain even the construction Moogles will be impressed by the precision with which they have been cut, Kupo.
a fine finish. Mogek the Marvelous is gesturing for you to come over.
Ruja, tell me, have you ever been to the monastery? Well, many, like me, assume it to have simply been a quiet place of worship. Way Off says that the erstwhile sanctuary also once served as a stone fabrication facility. We decided to do a bit of exploring, and a cursory search of the place yielded serviceable equipment once used in the production of decorative tile work. The stonemasons have already set to work, clattering about our good fortune. But with all the trouble we faced of late, I would prefer to leave nothing to chance. Please, Ruja, bring me some peace of mind and make sure nothing is amiss.
When you arrive, you find a moping Moogle who says,
We're out! Completely out! Give it another day and we'll soon be falling behind schedule again!
and a mosaicist Moogle who says,
Hello, madam. Did you too come to look upon the monastery after hearing the great dragon's regaling tales? Well, here it is. Everything he promised and more, Kupo. With the tools we found here, we've produced more tiles in an hour than we last did in a day. All this progress has us eager to continue, but we've exhausted the last of the veneer we had. Now that you're here, however, our problem is as good as solved, Kupo. Please, if you would, make us a glaze that we might add shine to our tiles. Once you've finished, we'd be most grateful if you could deliver the product directly to my assistant, who is just beyond this archway. Ever since we used the last of his supply, he's been inconsolable, lecturing any within earshot on the importance of properly managing supplies. Thankfully, we do not want for raw materials. Here, take as much as you like, Kupo.
the veneer component you craft reads, a component to be used as decorative layer for speckled gray tiles. The mosaicist Moogle then says,
Oh yes, this is certain to brighten even my assistant's mood. Before he sees fit to fly over and deliver yet another speech, please see the veneer you crafted for us reaches him.
when you give it to the moping Moogle, he says,
Honestly, if anyone had bothered to listen, we could have doubled, no, tripled the day's output. But now production's at a complete standstill, with little to no hope of starting again, Kupo. Is that what I think it is? Ha! Why, I could just hug you. Thank you, madam. You've really saved our palms with this one. Well, I've certainly learned my lesson. Not a single soul shall be allowed to touch these without my explicit permission. Not a single soul, Kupo.
and the mosaicist Moogle then says,
With your help, all the tiles for the monument will be finished in next to no time, Kupo.
and when you return to Mogek, he says,
Ruja, thank the gods you've returned unharmed. I was beginning to worry I would need to have to send one of my mogbenders after you. Haha! How refreshing it is to hear that our only trouble was simple shortage of materials. It seems I need worry no longer. Our luck has, at long last, taken a turn for the better, Kupo.
Oh, I thought I missed a picture. Fuck. Oh, man. The mining mishap. Mogek the Marvelous gazes at the sky, an exasperated sigh on his lips. Moogles have lips? Whatever.
Ruja, have your travels ever taken you to a place called Tharl Unkash? It is no secret the ruins hold some of the clearest crystals in the realm, crystals so pure they're often considered to be the perfect catalysts. As such, I have sent some Mogmenders to harvest them. They should have returned by now, with chests overflowing, Kupo. The reason they haven't, I imagine, is because they've run into trouble. Great adventurer, might you go and see what the problem is?
When you arrive, you find a number of Moogles sprawled out on the floor, saying things like,
The world just keeps on spinning and spinning, Kupo. Oh, I think I'm gonna be sick, Kupo.
Speaking with a malaised Moogle, he says,
Aether sickness is absolutely miserable, Kupo. If only we had realized what was happening to us sooner, we wouldn't be in this mess.
And a muddled Moogle says,
Kupo! Thank the gods above, Mogek finally sent help. It's terrible, Kupo. We were so fixated on mining crystals that we didn't realize just how thick the air was with ether until it struck down over half our squad. While this puts us in a tenuous position, a few of us have yet to feel its full effects. If we proceed with caution, we might still be able to fulfill Mogak's request. This is where you come in. Please, if you could make a wax sealant which might prevent any ether within the chests from leaking out, we would be most grateful. Everything you need should be right here, and if there is something you can't find, please don't hesitate to ask. Yes, of course. Take however much you need, Kupo.
The etheric shielding you craft reads, a protective guard to be used to obstruct the flow of aether emanated from crystals and preventing Moogles from succumbing to overexposure. When you give it to the malaised Moogle, he says,
So dizzy, Kupo. Unless we make haste, I too will soon be joining those of our ranks who lay listless on the ground. How am I to transport the crystals back to Mogek in this condition? What's this? A protective guard for our chests, you say? Oh, thank you, adventurer. We are saved. With this to shield us from the crystal's ether, we should have no problem taking these back.
And the muddled Moogle says,
Now, how to work out how we will transport those that are indisposed out of the ruins?
When you return to Mogek, he says,
I admit the possibility of the Mogmenders becoming affected by aether sickness completely slipped my mind, Kupo. Seems the fault in this case lies with me. We Moogles are more adept at manipulating our etheric flow than most. However, as this is a less acquired skill and more of a natural talent, we are more likely to succumb to overexposure. While there is no denying this was an unfortunate turn of events, I am happy to see that the Mogmenders appear, at least, to be learning the value of hard work.
Tricks without treats. Mogek the Marvelous is staring intently at a group of Ishgardian knights.
Ruja, I suspect trouble is afoot. Do you spy that group of temple knights yonder? They've been whispering amongst themselves, casting furtive glances this way and that for the past hour, Kupo. A hush falls over the group every time I approach, and try as I might, I cannot overhear so much as a single word. Maybe they would be willing to open up to a great adventurer like you. Yes, maybe you can discover what the problem is, Kupo.
Okay, hang on. I gotta gin up the fucking French accent. My hands are quivering. Nope.
Oh, my hands are quivering with excitement. I can hardly wait to see how our wonderful plan will unfold.
When you speak to Hildeth, she says, Oh, hello there, adventurer. What has you looking so grim? Trouble. I suppose one might call it, though it's far from the sort your friend Mogek seems to have in mind. You see, my knights and I have travelled all this way to rekindle our friendship with the residents of Mogholm. Master Tarrison told us of the Moogles' love of pranks, and we figured we could start by playing our own little trick on them. Unfortunately, our plan has hit a stumbling block. We've been struggling for the past hour to fit this smoke bomb into our fake kupo nut. I don't suppose you'd know how to go about this.
Hildeth, while our capable friend here sees to the coupon not issue, I shall go and seek out the perfect place to lay our trap.
Wait! He always does that. Back to the matter at hand, then. All the items you require should be here. Once you fit the smoke bomb into the casing, please take it to the lad who's just rushed off. Thank the gods you came when you did. Who knows how long we would have been stuck here fiddling with this thing otherwise. The exploding kupo nut you make reads, a counterfeit kupo nut that's impossible to tell apart from the real thing. Emits billowing waves of smoke upon detonation. It's done, you say? Fantastic. If you could see that it gets to our sapper, I would be most grateful. When you find the sapper and present him with fake kupo nut, he says, Have you brought the fake kupo nut with you? You reckon it looks convincing?
By the gods, it is beautiful.
Even Mogek would have difficulty telling apart from a real one. Now, let's see. I think we had best place it right about here. All set. Let us duck behind some bushes to await our quarry. You are then treated to a full cutscene. You have to skip when you do this quest other times, in which a couple of mischievous Moogles come along and say, Yes, Kupo, if whoever left them here can't be bothered to come back, then it wouldn't be stealing to take them ourselves, nor a crime to sneak a small taste. And a Mooney Moogle replies, Kupo! Mischievous Moogle, after getting a face full of smoke, says,
An exploding kupo nut. To think we would fall for such an amateurish prank. As soon as we recover, we must begin plotting our revenge, Kupo.
The Temple Knight Sapper says,
Adventurer, did you see that? Please tell me you did.
What an astounding success!
Then again, it wouldn't have been more of a surprise if it wasn't. The smoke bomb, it was engineered using the blueprints of those developed to immobilize dragons. Even so, we couldn't have done it without you, my friend. If it were not for your dexterous fingers, the Moogles would have never fallen for it.
and when you return to Mogak, he says,
You finally returned, Kupo. I trust you have news regarding the matter we discussed earlier? Pranks, Kupo! So that's what the fuss was about. Wonderful, simply wonderful. Mischief makers are always welcome, especially those as talented as our new friends.
a revivifying roar. Mogak is awaiting you with bated breath.
We are on the verge of a breaking discovery, Kupo. You remember our mission to restore the rookery to its proper capacity, yes? Well, one of our Moogles was investigating the stone dragons around the perimeter, and we found there were no mere ornaments. Unlike the other statues, these ones faintly glow. We think they served a more useful purpose. We want to see if they react to the presence of dragon magics, and for that we need Way Off. Could you summon him to roar upon the statues?
To do so, you speak with a dexterous dragonet who says,
Welcome, daughter of man. Yes, we know of these statues. Father told me about them once. He said there are many mysterious stone sculptures that seem to respond to dragon magics under certain conditions, although we are unsure why or how. Perhaps Way Off knows better of how to awaken them. Wait here, and I shall call him for you.
After summoning Way Off and roaring at some of the various statues dotted around the landscape, he says,
These statues are indeed from a bygone age, yet something is strange. Why does this statue, carved by man, respond to a dragon's roar in the present? Come, let us continue until all have been roused. I'm reminded of the elders' stories, of how our kind used to bear man across the heavens as I bear you now. Could it be possible that these statues respond to the presence of our solidarity?
a mystified Moogle near one of the statues, upon its awakening, says,
What was that strange noise just now?
Perhaps the true function of these statues has been lost to time. The men and dragons of the peaceful age had been known to make instruments that were mutually useful to both. I leave it to you Moogles to investigate whether it can be useful to you as well. For now, my throat is spent. Let us return.
and the mystified Moogle then says,
I wonder if they unlocked some mechanism or utility we can use in our construction.
and when you return to Mogak, he says,
The statues did react then. Excellent, Kupo. We will send out an exploration party at once to see if any of the structures around the rookery have changed. The men and dragons before the time of the Great War must have had a truly unique bond to create such devices. If they are watching from the heavens, I'm certain they would be happy you and Way Off are bearing the torch, so to speak, Kupo.
For Moogles in peril, Mogak is beside himself with panic.
Oh, Ruja, it's horrible! Nidhogg's minions are harassing the Mogmenders again, Kupo. You've done us a great kindness in the past, saving off our enemies, but now they assail us at every opportunity, and work is at a standstill. I say we fight fire with fire, or in this case, dragons with dragons, Kupo. If we beseech the aid of Way Off, I'm sure he will help us. No doubt you'll need to speak with his dragonling companion first. Time is of the essence, friend. Please, hurry!
And when you speak with the dexterous dragonet, it says,
Welcome, daughter of man. What business brings you here? The Mogmenders are under attack? Then I shall summon Way Off immediately.
after saving the Moogles, they say things like,
Whew! For a moment there, I thought my palm was popped, Kupo. Thank you. I'm alive? I'm alive, Kupo. Now let's make sure I stay that way. Oh, thank goodness. I think I need to lie down, Kupo.
and Way Off says things like,
Our work here is finished. Come, let us search for others who may be in danger. It is most fortunate he was unharmed, but I sense there are yet more Moogles to be saved. I no longer sense minions of the brood in the vicinity. Let us return to Barless.
and when you do, Mogak says,
The mighty hero returns, Kupo. You'll be happy to know all of the Mogmenders are accounted for. They're a bit shaken, but nothing a good day's rest cannot fix. I should hope the brood will not return, but if they do, you can be sure we will call upon you and Way Off once more.
The Negotiator. Available only at GrumbleNet.
Mogak has need of a woman with a silver tongue.
Ruja, perfect! We are sorely in need of one with your gift for negotiation. With every passing day, we find the stones that must be moved for construction to be larger and larger. The Mogmenders are at their wits' end, Kupo. Thankfully, Way Off has agreed to introduce us to dragons willing to help. That is, of course, if we can agree on proper payment. There's little we can offer at present, and the Mogmenders are like to be too intimidated by the dragon's imposing presence. We need someone who can look them in the eye and strike a fair deal. No doubt they're at Zenith discussing terms even as we speak. Please hurry before we've got up to our palms in debt, Kupo.
When you arrive, you find a helpmeet Moogle speaking to a disgruntled and daunting dragon. Their conversation is,
If you would kindly wait just a short while longer, we have our very best Moogles working to prepare your payment.
The pact has been made, Moogle. If you cannot provide what was agreed upon, then we will take our leave.
Such puny creatures. These massive stones you speak of are but pebbles to us.
and you speak with a mediating Moogle who says,
Oh, I wasn't expecting Mogek to send anyone. No need to worry, though. A pact has been made, and the dragons will soon be ready to work, Kupo. Except they had no interest in what we had to offer. Instead, they asked for metal covers fitted for their claws, Kupo. They say their claws are chipped and must be kept safe until they regrow. I fear none of us have the skill to produce goods suitable to their high standards. I know this is sudden, but we could really use your help, Kupo. When you've crafted the offerings, take them to my assistant. If you're running low on materials, just say the word and I'll track down more. Don't take too long, though. My assistant can only placate the dragons for so long, Kupo.
The austere offerings you create read, a token of good faith given to the dragons in exchange for their aid in restoring Barless. And when you present it to the helpmeet Moogle, he says,
Oh, thank goodness, a real craftswoman. The day may yet be saved, Kupo. Please tell me you have what the dragons demanded of us. Yes, I'm sure they will be most pleased. Oh, mighty dragons, I humbly offer this as payment for your services. I hope it meets with your expectations.
Well done. Perhaps there is merit in working with you Moogles after all.
You have honored the pact, and so we shall do the same. Our strength is yours.
after they leave, the helpmeet Moogle then says,
Whew, I shudder to think what would have happened if they didn't approve. Thanks, Kupo.
and the mediating Moogle says,
I dare say we wouldn't have been able to finish the plaza without them. With the dragons handling the heavy lifting, things should move along much more smoothly, Kupo.
and when you return to Mogak, he says,
The Mogmenders tell me a certain someone's help was vital in negotiating with the dragons. And naturally, I assumed they meant yours truly. Imagine my embarrassment when I remembered I'd sent you on that errand. Well done, Kupo. I really cannot thank you enough. Do you have any idea how many Moogles it would take to carry even one of those boulders? Neither do I. Just trying to imagine it leaves me exhausted. But with dragons handling the more strenuous labor, the Mogmenders can give more attention to detail. I dare say the monument may even turn out more marvelous than me, Kupo.
back to the drawing board. Mogak seems fixated on your tool belt.
Did you know that the landlords of old built a crafting facility at the Rookery? At least that's what the dragons have told me. What a time to be alive that must have been, Kupo. There's much to be gained by having such a place to work, which is why I've set the Mogmenders to work scouring the area for salvageable equipment. I'm sure their work would go faster with your help. As to specifically how you can assist, you'll have to speak with the Mogmenders to see what still needs fixing.
When you arrive, you find a masterful Moogle who says,
You must be that master artisan I've heard so much about, Kupo. Welcome, welcome. Here on this very spot, or rather down the stairs near those dreadful wyverns, the landlords astride skylords would descend from on high. Such transport was possible thanks to special equipment right here in the Rookery. The facilities that produce this equipment have fallen into disarray from centuries of neglect, but never fear. When we finish here, they will be as good as new, Kupo. Though your talents would be wasted on the few tasks I have at present. Perhaps you should speak with my fellow Mogmender. He's conducted a rather thorough survey of the grounds and should know what is most needed in repair. I have no jobs worthy of your skill, but I'm certain my companion just over yonder will have a task or three for you, Kupo.
Indeed, when you speak to the miffed Moogle, he says,
Come for work, have you? Well, you're in luck, Kupo. I have checked every nook and cranny of the Rookery, and let me tell you, I would much rather build the whole thing from scratch than repair what the landlords left behind. At present, I'm working on a few old fabric shearing machines. Nothing but lumps of rust, if you ask me. I can try and salvage pieces from them, but I need you to fashion a new set of blades. If you're lacking materials, you need only ask. When you've finished, take what you have to my assistant. No need to be shy. I'm here to help, Kupo. Please let me know if there's anything else you need.
the shearing machine component you craft read, a component to be used in creating a fabric shearing machine for the Rookery. When you give it to the helpmeet Moogle, he says,
What's this about the shearing machine? New parts! Kupo-po-po-po! We could do well to have a few more workers like you around. Much thanks, friend. Step by step, stone by stone. That's how we'll get the job done.
The miffed Moogle says,
We've still got a long way to go, but mark my words, the landlords of old will be jealous if they can see what we have planned, Kupo.
and the masterful Moogle says,
Oh, what I wouldn't give to see the Rookery as it once was.
and when you return to Mogak, he says,
Back so soon! If only the others could work with such haste. Then again, recreating equipment from 1,000 years ago is no small feat. It will be worth it in the end, though. These facilities will soon be of great use in our work. I can feel it in my palm, Kupo.
built to last, Mogak has a message for you.
There you are. Speaking of the crafter, and she shall appear, Kupo. The Mogmenders are hard at work on a fountain for the plaza, and the Moogle in charge has asked for you by name. No doubt he's waiting for you off by the fountain even as we speak. Well, don't just stand there gawping at my palm. Off you trot.
When you speak with the mindful Moogle, he says,
Thank goodness, I was beginning to think you wouldn't come. I am happy to announce the fountain space is all but complete, Kupo, but before we proceed, however, I thought it prudent to consider how it might weather the ages once we finish. The Lost Landlord, for example, was constructed over 1,000 years ago, yet the ravages of time have left not even a scratch on it. Our fountain must be just as resilient, if not more so, Kupo. That is why I have sent my best Moogles uncovering how such a colossal monument has survived all these centuries. Though I can't say what they'll find, my palm tells me this task will require one of your expertise. Better safe than sorry, I always say. Speak with the Mogbender down at the Lost Landlord to see what they have discovered. I'm counting on you, Ruja. Without a solid foundation, there can be no fountain. I don't know what they plan on making down there, but whatever it is, I doubt it will be much trouble for a crafter like you, Kupo.
You find a methodical Moogle who says,
Yes, you must be my new crafting assistant. Good, good. I was just reading over the results with my analysis. If my data is correct, and I'll bet a sack of kupo nuts that it is, we should be able to preserve our fountain much in the same way that the landlords did this one. However, it will require a water filter of the highest quality. That's where you come in, Kupo. First, I need you to acquire logs from the petrified birch trees in Old Tom. 3 should suffice, I think. Once you've brought them back, we can begin. The trees you find there may appear queer at first glance, but trust me, they are straighter than an arrow. Absolutely no gay. But I assure you, they are what we need. As I said before, you don't need to trouble yourself with more than 3 logs. Too many heterosexuals, then. The petrified heterosexual birch logs you get read, the passage of time has turned this birch log to stone. I can't think of a joke off of that. You return them to the methodical Moogle, and he says, Welcome back, my wingless assistant. I trust you found the lumber suitable for our work. Yes, these will do nicely. I need but pulverize the wood like so, and pow! It's ready. Now, I want you to follow these plans for the water filter, and coat the component with this reagent made from the petrified birch logs. It should help prevent corrosion. The logs you brought back were more than enough, but if you lack for other materials, I would be more than happy to prepare more, Kupo. When you've finished, my assistant will see to storing what you made. Is something the matter? Should you need anything, please don't hesitate to ask, Kupo.
the water filter component you reads, a component to be used in creating a water filter for the fountain in Barless. And the methodical Moogle, after you finish, says,
Yes, everything seems to be in order. Take that over to my assistant for safekeeping. It shouldn't be long now before we can resume work on the fountain bar less, Kupo.
The helpmeet Moogle says, I was told someone would be delivering a component for the fountain. I take it that's you, Kupo. Oh my, what wonderful work. Making you his assistant was a wise choice indeed. Our fountain is sure to be even better than this one. I'll keep this safe until we begin construction. You can count on me, Kupo.
And the methodical Moogle says,
Thanks to you, building a fountain that will last for the next 1,000 years should be as child's play.
and when you return to Mogak, he says,
And so the master craftswoman returns. No doubt the new fountain will stand for 3,000 years, Kupo. This is history in the making, my friend. Centuries from now, man, dragon, and Moogle alike will look on it and wonder, all thanks to you.
Let there be light. Mogak has interesting news to share.
Say, Ruja, you've spent a fair amount of time in the ruins dotting the churning mists, yes? Did you know they once used special conduits powered by the magic of dragons? As luck would have it, we recently found 3 at the Monstery still intact, Kupo. What were they used for? That's what we need to find out. The quickest way to do so would be to reactivate them, and that will require the aid of our good friend Way Off. I would go myself, but I'm much too busy. Yes, that's it. Busy. Now then, off you go.
The dexterous dragonette says,
Hello, daughter of man. What business brings you here? Statues powered by dragons. Yes, I have heard stories. If the Moogles wish to reawaken them, far be it from us to refuse. Allow me to call Way Af.
when you activate the statues, Way Off says,
It is done. I am surprised after all these years they still respond to the dragon's call. The landlords are more clever than I thought. Come, let us find the others. This one too remembers the dragon's call. I sense there is yet another statue nearby. We must awaken it. This statue marks the last. I know not what manner of device is driven by their power, but it will soon be roused to action. Of this I am certain.
a nearby mystified Moogle says,
Kupo! I'll be good, I promise. Huh? Oh, phew, it's only you. I was resting my eyes when I heard this terrible roar. But never mind that, the statue is glowing. Did you do this? I'll have to inform the Mogbenders at once. You won't say anything about what you saw to Mogak, will you? He'll have my palm if he hears I was sleeping on duty again, Kupo.
and when you return to Mogak, he says,
You've returned, and in one piece, Kupo. We've tried to accompany Way Off on trips as such as this in the past, but the magic in his roar is so powerful it's enough to pop one's palm. I confess that even my magnificent palm could not bear the might of his bellowing cry. I was in bed for at least a week. Thankfully, we have you to assist with dragon duties now. Such a lucky one you are. If only I had a palm as durable as you. Wait, I nearly forgot you don't have a palm. I suppose you're not so lucky after all. You look ugly as fuck. All right, dickhead.
Tremble fishing. Mogak waves his little paws excitedly.
Ruja, the Mogbenders and I had a splendid idea. Do you recall how crystals are strengthened when bathed in the roar of dragons?
Well, consider the kupo tree, rich in ether and a natural source of crystals. If way off were to roar at one, surely it would bear even better crystals, yes? We would like to test this theory, so could you summon way off and ask him to roar upon a kupo tree? Oh, and while you're at it, might you also stop by one of the clusters we gather and have him roar on it as well? When you speak to the dexterous dragonet, he says, "Well met, daughter of man, what is your business here? Ah, so you're requesting the help of way off once more. Give me a moment, I shall call him over. Nobody ever wants to talk to me, the dexterous dragonet."
After you roar at the tree and the crystals, the monitoring Moogles nearby say,
Look how it glows! Surely the crystals are stronger now, Kupo! The ether in the cluster is changing. I can feel it. I'll have to be careful not to get sick.
and Way Off says, "There was one more you would have me bellow..." Why did I do that?
There is one more you would have me bellow my magics upon, yes? And with that, it would seem my work is done. I am glad to have been of some help to you, daughter of man. Now, let us return.
And when you return to Mogek the Marvelous, he says,
You're back, Kupo. I'm glad I didn't see any explosions in the distance. I was a little worried the magics of the dragons might be too potent in the presence of all that ether. It makes me reflect on how fortunate we are to have you and Way Off assist us like that. If it wasn't for you two, I don't think the Mogmenders would have made it half as far as they have. I suppose it just goes to show that no Moogle is an island, Kupo.
Except for that one that's in the Cloud Sea. But don't worry about that one. I don't think that one's a real Moogle. Journey of 1,000 Hues. Mogek shakes his head.
Why do I even bother sometimes? A group of Moogles said they were going to take a break from the restoration effort and explore the area around the Shiva statue south of here, but they appear to be taking too long for my tastes. Might you check on them and see what they are up to?
You find there a marveling Moogle who says,
The mother of the Shiv! So beautiful! Oh, pardon me, Kupo. I was so entranced by such majesty I didn't see you standing there. Every time I lay eyes on her, I cannot help but feel inspired. How many years would it take to carve a statue of this size, I wonder? 10? 20? 100? And regardless, it's a display of dedication worthy of the highest respect. Someday I wish to be respected as a Moogle sculptor, and that's why my mind is made up, Kupo. I too shall hone my skills and create a statue as grandeur as this one, with a little help, of course. You have an eye for detail, right? Do you think you could use your expertise to fashion me a small statue in the likeness of a valiant Moogle? I want to use it as a model to practice for my much bigger Mog monument, Kupo. While I would love to see you work, I do not have any materials on hand, unfortunately. But my brother is a peddler who deals in odds and ends at the summit of Som All. If you mention I sent you for my work, he should be willing to give you materials free of cost. Be sure to craft the statuette as intricately as you can. After all, it could become the model of a monument that could stand for 1,000 years, Kupo.
You find the mongering Moogle at the summit who says,
He wants to carve what? Did he hit his palm or something? My brother is talented, to be sure, but he's no master. Even a sculpture my size would take him more than a fortnight, Kupo. I'm rather doubtful he could create such an enormous piece, but since you came all this way, I suppose I'll have to indulge him. Here. You know what they say, practice makes perfect, Kupo. If only my brother would take the same advice before declaring such lofty goals.
and when you finish making the model, the Moogle statuette reads, a tiny effigy that will serve as the model for a massive monument. And when you give it to the marveling Moogle, he says,
Did you finish making the model? Wow, it's so lifelike, Kupo. The details on the fur, the veins on the wings. If I didn't know better, I would say you've had quite the career as a sculptor yourself. Thank you so much for making me such an elaborate piece. You can tell Mogek that I've found my true calling in life. With this in hand, I'll be a master sculptor in no time, Kupo. I'm so excited, Kupo. Although it would probably be best to start with a small boulder, Kupo.
returning to Mogek, he says,
I see. So he decided he would rather dedicate his time to sculpting. Well, I for one have no qualms with it. Not every Moogle is suited to be a Mogmender, you know. Besides, if he's successful in his mission, then perhaps a magnificent Moogle statues will be scattered around the churning mists, Kupo. I'm glad you were able to support him in his dream, no matter how big or how small.
Ship of Dreams. Mogek looks around as if he's waiting for someone.
They're late, Kupo, so very late. The sappers said they would send for sundries that we cannot provide ourselves. The shipment should have arrived at the rookery by now, but we have not received word for a while. Where could they be? Oh, I hope their airship did not run aground, or worse, run afoul of Nidhogg's brood. Could you go and take a look for me, Kupo?
When you arrive, you find a trio of baby dragons staring intently at the airship. When you speak to them, they say,
How does it stay afloat? Why does it not flap its wings? What is the big ball at the top?
and you find the Tense Temple Knight nearby, who then says, Ho there, adventurer. I am in need of your assistance. We were in the midst of unloading our cargo when these dragons showed up and surrounded the airship. We quickly carried off what cargo we could. I have my spear, yet I would rather not provoke the ire of the Dragon Mother, wherever she may be. Needless to say, this has led to a considerable delay. You have dealt with your fair share of dragons, I am sure. Would you go and ask them what it is they want with our ship?
They don't look all that dangerous, but you can never be too sure.
Speaking again with the delighted dragonet, they say,
Daughter of man, tell us, what is this strange contraption? Airship? So this is how man flies without wings. But it is so strange looking. Can I have an airship? Can I please? I promise to take care of it. Airships! Airships! We want airships!
and then you go talk to the temple knight, who says,
They want what? What look like the bloody saint of Naimir to you? If the beasts want are anything like Ishgalian children, once they've made up their minds, they won't let up. I have no time for this nonsense. You look as though you are good with your hands. There, take these scraps of Haven resin and mold them together yourself. The sooner you gave them their airships, the sooner we can have the cargo delivered. I thought I already gave you some scraps. Chop chop, I have no patience for these meddlesome pups.
you then craft a makeshift toy airship. A toy airship durable enough to withstand the rough play of dragonets.
What are you looking at me for? Go on, give them to the dragons so we can be on our way.
And when you present it to the delighted dragonets, they say,
What is that? Could it be? Oh, thank you, daughter of man. They are so lovely. Come now, my friends, let us go and play knights and worms.
The dragonets then toss their airships off the edge of the isle. As gravity overtakes their maiden voyages, the laughing pups swoop down after them and disappear into the clouds below.
Well, they seem to be satisfied with your handiwork, as though I must say their demands were most unexpected. You think that we may have barreled steel against beings with desires no different than children. Anyhow, I thank you for your assistance, adventurer. That's that then. You can really ask to our sappers that they should have the deliveries made once we get the rest of the cargo off of the airship.
And when you return to Mogak and tell him what happened, he says,
A group of dragonets are out of the airship. Sounds like it could have been a recipe for disaster, Kupo. You and I already know that dragonlings mean no harm, but I suppose ordinary men may still see them as a threat. It was good that you were able to prevent any further escalation. I heard dragonets remain their same inquisitive selves for decades before they become fully grown dragons. If you think about it, when that temple knight's son becomes a man, he will likely see the same exact bright-eyed pops his father had, Kupo.
Stirring by sternutation, Mogak lets out a frustrated sigh.
Oh, what's to do? I know they mean no harm, but must the dragons use our construction sites as dozing spots? It's starting to slow our progress, Kupo. If only it were as simple as giving them a little nudge. I hear dragons do not take kindly to those who disturb their sleep. But wait, what if they were to wake of their own accord? Surely they would not be angry with us then, yes? I have an idea. Why don't you ride a cloud mallow and shake it over the dragons that they might sneeze themselves awake? It would be better to have an adventurer like you do it in case there are any mishaps, Kupo.
I don't suppose dragons have, fire breath or anything, that which might come out when they sneeze? No? Okay, I think we're probably good then. The Moofy Moogle says, I heard, I'll be sure to give you one with lots of loose florets. It should take no more than a shake to make the fluff fly, Kupo. As you wake up the various sleeping dragons with Moogles nearby, they say,
Oh, my snout prickles. Oh, am I in your way? Forgive me, I was unaware. Shall find another place to rest.
Whew! The next one blocking the road is to the northeast. Let's go, Kupo.
Oh, so that dreadful season is upon us. Damnable snores. Enough! Move for fair skies.
That leaves one more to awaken. Our last stop is the Rookery, Kupo.
What? Where am I? I must have... Oh, what a curious dream I had. A pity it had to end so abruptly. No matter, I shall take wing and think on its meaning.
Is that dragon snot on my fur? Ew! One of the unexpected hazards of accepting this job, I suppose. Ugh! I'll have to go and clean this off. Anyway, many thanks for your help, Kupo.
and when you return to Mogak, he says,
Oh, thank goodness. I was beginning to worry they would never wake up, Kupo. Dragons are prone to sleeping much longer than you or I. Had we left those dragons be, who knows how long they might have slept. Could have delayed our work for moons, Kupo. I do feel a little guilty for disturbing their naps, but it was for the greater good. I'm sure they would understand. Now, it's time to get back to work, Kupo.
Rare refreshments. Mogak stretches and waves to you.
Ruja, just the person I need to talk to. Or someone else needs to talk to, rather. A Moogle from Mogholm has a request and asked for you personally should I see you around the plaza. When I inquired what for, he said it was a secret, so I'm not sure what it could be, but you'll oblige him regardless, won't you?
And you find the meticulous Moogle, and he says,
I've been waiting for you, Kupo. I wanted to speak with you away from the plaza because we're preparing something special. It's a surprise. You see, the Temple Knights spend day and night helping us out with the reconstruction efforts, so I wanted to do something nice for them in return. At first, I thought to show Mogholm's appreciation by playing a trick on them, but as it turns out, Temple Knights don't take kindly to that sort of camaraderie. Instead, we will give them a taste of our homemade cuisine. but we're missing some finishing touches that I wanted you to help us with as an exceptional craftswoman. We are preparing a dish of stewed mushrooms and vegetables from around the turning mists. However, we need seasonings that appeal to the tastes of men, as the vegetables can be quite bitter. Can you make us some, Kupo? Let me know if you need any materials, Kupo. When you're finished, please hand them to my friend over there, who will prepare the Mog stew for delivery.
The Mog stew miscellany that you craft reads, odds and ends to be used in the preparation of a tasty Moogle stew. After you finish crafting it, the meticulous Moogle says, perfect timing, Kupo. And when you give your crafted items to the mincing Moogle, it says, did you bring what we need? Thank you very much. And now for the coup de grace. Ta-da! Can you smell that heavenly aroma? But I'm a bit worried that the artisans might not take a single bite if a Moogle presented it to them. We still have a reputation for trickery. How about I have you deliver it to Hildeth for me, Kupo? She'll be less suspicious if it's from you. No tricks, I promise. Although I can't be blamed should they find a stray white hair or two in their food. It's unavoidable, I'm afraid. I hope they find the Mog stew tasty. We spent nearly a fortnight gathering all the ingredients, Kupo. Mog stew, a generous helping of grilled mushrooms and other local vegetables, spiced and drowned in a thick broth. Oh, I love a good broth. You present it to Hildeth, and to which she replies, good evening, Ruja. Working hard or hardly working? Fucking hate it when people say that shit to me. Wow, that smells divine. What is the occasion, if I may ask? A token of gratitude from the Moogles. What a kindly... Wait, is this safe to eat? No, I trust you checked. This will be a refreshing break from our hard biscuits, to be sure. Moogles are surprising creatures. We've been trying to adapt ourselves to their culture, but it appears they too have been thinking the same. Please tell them we have gladly accepted this token. I'll be the one to distribute the helpings to the vegetables among the sappers, although I will tell them beforehand that it came from the Moogles, just as a precaution. And, returning to Mogak, he says, welcome back, Ruja. Did you find out what the Moogles at Mogholm wanted? So they wish to surprise the Temple Knights with a sampling of Mogholm cooking. I must say, I thought to do the same, but I was worried that our food would not suit their sophisticated tastes. After all, we Moogles aren't known for having a diverse diet. Even so, they seem to be satisfied with the gesture all the same. Perhaps someday I'll be able to try a bit of Temple Knights cooking, too. I've always wanted to, Kupo.
From lax to max.
Mogak twitches his whiskers and beckons you over.
There you are. I have somewhat of an unconventional task for you. As you know, the restoration of Zenith is a massive undertaking and requires gathering an immense amount of resources. Unfortunately, Magupo tells me that the Moogles under his command, who have been mostly loafing around, are now ignoring his requests entirely. He asked me to intervene personally, but I think they need to be taught a harsher lesson. I want you to go to these Moogles in my stead and give them the harshest, most extreme orders you can come up with. And if they don't do as bade, I will see that they face dire consequences. You can make up whatever consequences you like, but be as intimidating as possible, Kupo.
You find the three maundering Moogles and give them their instructions and potential punishments, to which they react,
Hello there. Mogak says I'm to gather wind crystals while searching for 101 Moogles hiding throughout the churning mists, or else? Or else what? Never mind, that tone says it all, Kupo. You can't be serious, Kupo. How am I supposed to gather that many Wadget spines? It's not like they'll just let me climb onto their backs and... don't scare me like that, Kupo. I'm going. Gather 99 bird nests, or I'll have you squeeze my palm off? Not my palm, Kupo. Anything but my palm.
Satisfied with how you've terrified these little shitheads, you talk to Magupo and he says,
That's strange. I thought they would have been returned by now. Oh, I'm certain they're slacking off again, Kupo. Could you find them and make sure they're gathering materials as instructed? Where did they go to get those wind crystals? The moon?
That's ridiculous. There's nothing on the moon. After traipsing literally across the entire map like 3 times, you do find the maundering Moogles, who say,
Never again. I get it. I've learned my lesson. Magupo is so much nicer about his requests. Here are the wind crystals, and I can only find 34 hiding Moogles, Kupo. Forgive me. I don't know what Moogle in their right mind would think this was a good idea. Here you are, 99 Passerly nests. Oh, please don't pop my palm, Kupo. Hooray, I'm saved. 99 Passine nests on the shelf, 99 Passine.
The items you get from them are Mind Crystals, which is a ragged-looking box filled to the top with wind-aspected crystals, Wadget Spines, a worn pouch overflowing with Wadget Spines, and Passerine nests, 99 birds' nests, crushed into a cube and tied with string. You present these to Magupo, who says, Well, where were they? Did they even do what they were told?
They gathered all of these on their own? What? How? This is incredible. You're like a Moogle whisperer, Kupo. You can tell Mogak that we have enough raw materials for now. Thank you, Ruja. You should teach me your methods sometime, Kupo.
Okay, step 1, gun. Step 2, profit. You turn to Mogak and he says,
How did it go, Kupo? Oh, wow, they actually did everything you bade them to? Remarkable, isn't it, that they change their tune when they have an adventurer giving them orders rather than our sweet little Magupo. Although I must admit, I wish I could have seen the looks on their faces myself, Kupo.
Really horrible giggle. I apologize. Dragon Draff for their behalf. Mogak is inspecting his paws.
You'll have noticed the stone buildings of the churning mists are caked with centuries of mold and grime. While some might say this gives them character, I'm not sure it makes for the healthiest environment. I entrusted the task of scouring the buildings to some Moogles at Zenith. Having done so, they soon requested more adept hands. Yours, Kupo. They will explain everything there.
You find a pair of Moogles and a wyvern at the area you are directed to. When you speak to one of the Moogles, they say,
Wyverns don't shed their scales very often, so we're very lucky to have him help us, Kupo.
The wyvern says,
If it is scales you want, I have more than enough to give. My skin itches terribly so.
Speaking to the managerial Moogle, it says,
You've come to the right place, Kupo. We're the cleaning team Mogak sent to scrape the structures. Yet I suppose you're wondering why our wyvern friend is here.
Oh, hi. Okay, attempt number 2.
Yet I suppose you are wondering why our wyvern friend is here. We were given metal rasps from the Temple Knight sappers, but they wore down too quickly. It was by chance that we found something else to use, coarse dragon scales, which have proven to be surprisingly resilient. Fortunately, this molting wyvern has happily volunteered to help. However, we are having trouble removing the scales from the molt as our paws are less suited than your fingers to the task. Can you do it for us? Although he seems a bit shy, he asked himself if he would do this in a secluded location.
The wyvern scale flakes that you pick off of the wyvern read stiff, bristly plates from a molting adolescent wyvern. And after you take them off, the wyvern says,
Ah, it feels much better than scraping my back against the crags. Shall I take my leave then? I hope to conclude before my brothers come looking for me.
When you turn it into the managerial Moogle, he says,
Let's see what you've got, Kupo. Great work, Kupo! They'll snap off far too easily if they're brittle, but these ones will do nicely. That being said, we have one more favor to ask of you. As a talented artisan, could you show us how to affix these scales to shafts of hardened leather or wood to make the rasps? My friend over there will be the one to collect them. Thanks again for the help, Kupo. If you need more materials to practice with, I'll have them ready for you. Sometimes it takes more than one attempt to get it right when making new tools, Kupo.
The dragon scale rasps you craft read, a sturdy file affixed with coarse wyvern scales for scraping dirt and grime from old stone buildings. And when you turn it into the modest Moogle, he says,
I'm waiting, Kupo. Thank you. I'll gather the others. The buildings of churning mist will be sparkling in no time, Kupo. Soon the buildings will be molting their old skins too.
And the managerial Moogle also says,
Sometimes I find myself envious of man's hands. Then I try to visualize having them and see nothing but part Moogle, part horrible beast.
Upon returning to Mogak, he says,
There you are, Kupo. I was surprised to hear from one of the wyverns that she was flying past Zenith and saw the Moogles using their old scales to make better rasps. Well, you know what they say. A dragon's trash is a Moogle's treasure, Kupo. Actually, no one really says that. But for the moment, it's true, right?
A fish for his favors. Mogak looks around the plaza before waving his paw at you.
Oh, good. I wanted to speak to you while Wei Af is away. You see, he's done so much for us, and we wanted to give him a worthy gift. If you didn't know already, Wei Af is quite the connoisseur of cloudfish, Kupo. We sent one of our best mogfishers to search for the perfect catch to present to him, but he seems to be taking his time, Kupo. So, could you possibly, Kupo?
You find a mellow Moogle attempting to cloudfish, and upon speaking with him, he says,
Drats, foiled again! And that was my last lure, too. Oh, hello there. Say, you're Ruja, aren't you? My younger brother Mogwan never tires talking of your craftsmanship. Perhaps the fates have conspired to bring you here. For hours, I get not so much as a nibble until my last lure is snatched away, and a moment later, an expert artisan like yourself appears before me. Please lend me your help, Kupo. I beg you, craft me a new fishing lure, one that bears such a striking resemblance to a small cloudfish that even I would get confused. If you need materials, go and visit Mogwan and Asa. He would gladly hand some over for you to use. I'll wait for you right here, Kupo. Fisher Moogles are used to being patient.
When you speak to Mogwan, he says,
My brother lost another lure. Well, normally I'd complain, but this time I'm sure you'll create one of exceptional quality so that he'd be more careful with it. Here you are, Kupo. Do you need more materials? By all means, Kupo.
The cloudfish lure you create reads, expertly crafted tackle to entice unsuspecting cloudfish. When you return it to the mellow Moogle, he says,
I tried finding some worms to use as bait without much success. Have you finished making the lure? Oh, beautiful work, Kupo. Why, if I didn't know it was a lure, I'd love and cherish it as a pet, Kupo. Well then, I shall try it out at my best spot and see what I can hook. No following me now. A master mogfisher never reveals his secrets. Of course, I would be an idiot not to try out Tharl and Kosh, where all the boastful catches are found. Let us meet there after I try out this new lure. I'll try not to disappoint, Kupo.
And when you find him again, for some reason, he says,
This tackle you made for me is superb, Kupo. As soon as I lowered my fishing pole over the cliffside, my line wouldn't stop trembling. Out of all my catches, I believe this one is the finest. As a mogfisher, I've seen all manner of common cloudfish, but this particular one is unknown to me. To a dragon, that would be a rare treat, right? Huzzah! I did it! My finest catch yet!
the undiscovered cloudfish that he gives you reads, a cloudfish that appears to be missing from the existing list of documented fauna in the churning mists. You find a dexterous dragonet and show him the cloudfish, to which he responds,
Welcome, daughter of man. Did you wish to speak to Wei? What a succulent-looking fish. For Wei off, I imagine. I shall summon him right away. This adventurer and the Moogle have something for you.
Such a delicacy I have not seen in an age. Wherefore the reason for this lavishness? I am truly humbled by this gift, and I will be sure to take my time in savoring it. Pray, give my thanks to the Moogles.
the dragonet says,
Wei off gave me a taste of the cloudfish you gave him. I have never eaten anything so delicious. Next time, will you bring me one, too?
and when you return to Mogak, he says,
I'm so glad you had a direct hand in helping us express gratitude to Wei off for his assistance to the Mogbenders. We couldn't have done it without you, Koopa. I'm also somewhat relieved Wei off recognized it. The Mogfisher said he wasn't sure what kind of fish it was, so it would be a disaster if it was poisonous. At any rate, thank you so much for your help. Until next time.
an Ishgardian treat. Mogak points to Hildeth in the plaza.
Welcome back, Ruja. Not too long ago, Hildeth requested your assistance, which is why I was pointing you that way. It probably has to do with the work the sappers are doing, but I told her I would send you along if I saw you, Kupo.
Good morning, Ruja. I would prefer if we kept our voices down. We sappers are arranging something for the Moogles.
As you know, they recently have been providing us with much-needed sustenance, giving us the strength to continue to toil day and night on the restoration. We wanted to repay that kindness by giving them a taste of the traditional Ishgardian stew. I've ordered to beseech your help, as when preparing a banquet, one always finds something missing. It takes quite a while for supplies to reach the churning mists from Ishgard, and we wish to serve the food to them before the ingredients spoil. Upon checking the supplies, we had forgotten to include essential accessories. Perhaps you could use your skills to make trays and serviettes? I hear you are acquainted with Mogwan and Asa. If you mentioned my name to him, I am sure he would hand over the materials for you to use. Although I would be discreet. Obviously it is a surprise, and Mogwan tends to be inquisitive. I wonder, do Moogles even eat meat? I've only seen them partake in kupo nuts, vegetables, and wine. Perhaps I should ask the cook to leave it out of the recipe in case it makes them sick. When you speak to Mogwan, he says,
Huh? Are you sure Hildeth doesn't need something a little stronger and heavier for building materials? She often asks me for resources in bulk. Well, if it's for the Temple Knights, I suppose there's no need to question it. Here you are, Kupo. You should take those to Hildeth right away. She gets a scary look on her face when her orders are delayed, Kupo.
the Ishgardian cuisine miscellany that you give to her read, the finishing touches complement presentation of an Ishgardian meal.
My apologies, Kupo. It's just my responsibility to make certain the materials are being used in ways that benefit the projects.
And when you return it to Hildeth, she says, I take it you were able to prepare the finishing touches.
Excellent, and with that,
The meals are complete and you are ready to be handed out. Deliver these to the hardest working Moogles you can find. Oh, and Mogwan as well. And let me know if they enjoy it. I know it seems like so few bowls for how many Moogles are working, but we want to be sure that it suits their tastes first. No use ordering enough ingredients to feed all if it will only be wasted. The Ishgardian cuisine you give to the Moogles reads, a bowl of traditional stew accompanied by a Moogle-sized spoon and refreshing beverage to wash everything down. The various Moogles that you give it to say things like,
what are you just standing for? We've got a job to do, Kupo. Wow, this is unexpected. I suppose a small lunch break wouldn't hurt so long as we pick up the pace afterwards. Thank you very much, Kupo. He even has a little spoon just for me, Kupo. No need to dig in with my bare paws, although I am somewhat tempted. Where is the Moogle to relieve me from my duty? I really could use a break. Hildeth had you bring this food all the way over here for me? Wow, I feel so honored, Kupo. Thank you, adventurer. After a couple bites of that stew, I feel like I could bring in an entire cartload of crystals, Kupo.
and Mogwan says,
Oh, you're back. Does Hildeth require any more resources? Aha! I knew she was planning something, Kupo. This looks positively toothsome. I can't wait to try it, Kupo. This makes up for all the headaches my team has been giving me lately.
Upon checking in with Hildeth, she says, It appears the Moogles are enjoying our culinary creation, so we hope to make this a regular occurrence. We will make more when the next shipment comes in, so be assured that every Mogbender will eventually be able to try a taste. And upon returning to Mogak, he says,
What's going on? I just saw a Moogle fly by with a delicious-looking sauce dribbled all over his coat. Hildeth is having trays of food handed out to some of the Mogbenders? But what about me, Kupo? I didn't receive one. Are there any left? Oh, it's fine. It's not like I told you I wanted any. People forget, I suppose. It was just, little dream of mine to dine on proper Ishgardian cuisine, but Oh well.
Fucking loser! Mine and craft. Mogak puffs up his chest.
It's good to see you, Kupo. I have a favor to ask. We've been learning new techniques for mining wind crystals for the Temple Knights, and 2 of our mining Moogles were sent out to try their methods, but I haven't seen so much as a shard delivered yet. I'm not privy to what's going on over there, so I was wondering if you could go and see what's keeping them. They said they would set up their extraction site on a small floating islet underneath Ontal.
Oltan, actually, is what that says. Me, dipshit. You find a mentee Moogle who says,
Curse these little paws, Kupo. If only I had been more careful.
and a mining Moogle who says, I don't have a good Jack Black impression, do I? No.
Well met, adventurer. I assume Mogak sent you to check on us? We seem to be in a bit of a pinch, Kupo. The Temple Knight sappers told us the wind crystals within the center of the floating islets are the most potent, or more potent than ordinary crystals, and suggested drilling holes to mine them from the inside out. But we had a little accident, Kupo. You see, the Temple Knights lent us a treadwheel crane with which to haul the load up from the center of the isle, but in bringing it to this spot piece by piece, my apprentice dropped one of the cargo boxes, and it disappeared through the clouds, Kupo. Presumably killed someone down below, but we won't worry about that. We can't retrieve it, and even if we could, I'm certain the components in the box would be nothing but dust by the time we found it. We require replacement parts post-haste. You will help us, right? You can make the parts for the belt and wheel strong enough to withstand the weight of hundreds of pounds' worth of crystals. I've brought with me some items which you can use to make replacement components. When you finish, bring them to my apprentice so that he might start putting together the treadwheel.
The treadwheel crane components you craft read, components to be used as replacement parts for a mining crane.
If you finish creating the components, please give them to my apprentice over there. He'll be the one to put the crane together, Kupo.
And when you speak with the mentee Moogle, he says,
Are the components ready? Can it be fixed? Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Kupo. I swear in my palm that I will never drop another box in my life. You can tell Mogak that we're all set here, Kupo. We will be able to commence our mining in time, Kupo.
The other Moogle says,
Phew, you really saved us there. Oh, but let's keep us a secret. No use having the Temple Knights fret over spilled nut milk. With your master mending skills, you might have even improved the original crane, right?
When you return to Mogak, he says,
Welcome back, Ruja. I take it you were able to resolve the problem? Excellent, Kupo. New mining techniques are always welcome, especially now that we know the wind crystals in the center of the isles are of far better quality. Can't wait to see the delivery of the first loads. I hope those 2 take great care with every step. The Temple Knights wanted us to extract the crystals in moderation, else the isles lose its buoyancy and fall right out of the sky, Kupo.
Moogle jockey! Is that funny? I don't think that's funny. I'll put it in the video anyway, though. Oh, this one. Fuck me. The Moogle motivator. Mogak appears to be pondering something.
Hello, Ruja. I need your help. It's about Magwan. Last time I saw him, he looked as he was going to pull out all of his fur in frustration. If Moogles could go bald, he would be the first, Kupo. Might I trouble you to go to Asa and ask what's troubling him?
When you speak with Magwan, he says,
Thank you for coming, Ruja. I trust Mogak sent you to inquire about the progress here in Asa. While Bar Less is nearing completion, I can't say I'm content with our pace here. In fact, there's one Moogle in particular who's not only a lackluster bricklayer, but a master procrastinator. He always has some sort of excuse for why he can't be bothered to put hammer to nail. I've tried everything. He doesn't like to listen to me, but might lend an ear to a fellow mender. An elite one at that. Perhaps you can try giving him some words of encouragement. He's not hard to miss. He's always hiding behind the building so that I can't clearly see what he's up to.
When you speak to the, working hard or hardly working malingering Moogle, he says,
Shh! Can't you see I'm doing my preparatory routine? A mender must be of sound mind and body. That is achieved through profound contemplation. I must have peace and quiet. Up, down, turn around, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. You again, Kupo? I told you, if you disturb me, I won't be able to focus, and then no work will get done today. Now I have to start all over again. Up, down, turn around, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in.
For whatever reason, the quest tells you to slap him.
Did you just... What? How can she slap Kupo? Mogwan says I'm the one slacking off. For a Moogle who does nothing but delegate all day, he has some nerve, Kupo. If he's so fixated on pushing me around, then he can forget about it. No, I should have become a bard.
When you talk to Magwan, he says,
Any luck, Kupo? You slapped him? What the fuck is up with... Why would you do that? Why would this possibly help the situation? Wow, and I thought I had some pent-up frustrations. While I appreciate your enthusiasm, it appears to have the opposite effect. Who would have thunk? Maybe Master Terrison was right about trying a more traditional method. Bribery! If you fashion him a fancy set of work equipment, surely he would feel obligated to put more effort into the restoration. He may not deserve it, but an angry mender is worse than a lazy mender. If you need any materials, let me know. Oh, and be sure to tell him it's from me when you give it to him.
When you finish crafted the Moogle mollifier, it reads, a little something necessary for wooing a particularly stubborn Moogle to work.
Wow, you've really outdone yourself, Kupo. This will perk him up for sure.
When you go talk to the little dickhead again and give him the thing, he says,
Oh no, it's Magwan's personal Moogle admonisher. Go away, Kupo. A present? Why, it's beautiful. I don't know what to say, Kupo. Magwan had this made just for me? Well, aren't I feeling embarrassed? After all those things I said, too. Well, I suppose I could approach my mending with a little more gusto, Kupo. Magwan can be demanding at times, but to give me such a nice gift shows he truly cares. Thank you for bringing it to me. Never will I be fancy-free, no one swings their hammer as dutifully as me.
When you return to Magwan, he says,
Work like a charm, Kupo. Master Terrason calls this the stick and crack-a-root method. He says it is used to train Chocobo to behave themselves, but it is apparently effective on Moogles, too.
and when you return to Mogak, he says,
Did you find out what's bothering Magwan? Somehow I'm not surprised. There's one in every bunch. Although it is as unexpected that a Moogle as serious as Magwan would take advice from Master Terrason. I shudder to think what other tricks he might learn.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for the Moogle quests that we have to read. Now, hopefully, if all things are going according to plan, this video and the other videos should have gone up around the time before we read the Allied Tribe quest, which comes out shortly afterwards. And if you are interested in catching that live, just know that it usually will happen at 4 p.m. CST on twitch.tv/officialpunguy, sometime on Thursdays or Sundays, depending upon how I'm feeling. But if you liked this video, if you would like to see more, if you would like to hear more from me, please don't hesitate to like, comment, subscribe, you know, the usual thing. And follow me on Twitch. That's where I'm most active, and most things that go up on this channel go before they hit the channel. This being the exception, of course. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.